presentation on how to make sense of the cloud. Real quick housekeeping note though, please enter all questions about down here into the Q&A panel. That helps us keep track. I do see at least one question out there already. We'll answer those after the presentation. If you ask a question, you're entered to win a prize. That prize this week is a $100 Amazon gift card. And this is being recorded. You'll get a link to your recording in your email. This is also available on youtube.com/expedient, instagram.com/_expedient, go.expedient.com/webinar replays, and linkedin.com/company/expedient. Go ahead and give us a follow on all of those social medias. For those of you who are new to Expedient, we've had an evolution over the last 20 years. We started in co-location in 2001. Today, we have 12 data centers in 8 cities. In 2007, we released virtual co-location. Started in 2007 at the very start of virtualization, because we're always trying to be on the leading edge of technology. We've been doing cloud workloads for over 15 years now. With push button DR, we released that in 2015 to start doing disaster recovery as a service and solve the problems of disaster recovery through our data center network and to provide the fastest failover in the industry. In 2018, we released our enterprise cloud. It's a full cloud operating model for your VMware workloads without all the refactoring. That's the evolution of our technology stack that we started with virtual colocation. In 2020, we released Cloud Native to power next generation applications with fully managed Kubernetes, persistent container storage, and application observability. Again, trying to stay in advance of where our customers are going so that we can be available with services to help them along that journey. And this year, we've been focusing heavily on multi-cloud. Now, when we think about multi-cloud, how did we even get there? Where do we even begin? Right? I think we kind of have to go back in time. Got to go back to about 2007. And we have a bunch of physical servers, and physical servers are starting to outpace our virtual platforms. And so we look at virtualization, and now we have VMs. And at about the same time, public cloud starts to become a thing. Amazon releases AWS EC2. Expedient has our virtual colocation platform. All of these start to take shape at about the same time. But not everybody's necessarily ready for that public cloud, right? I feel really nervous as a business just putting my stuff out there, because at this time, we don't know everything that we know today about cloud. So it's pretty wide open. It's pretty Wild West. And so a lot of companies choose to try to do the same things that public cloud is doing, but in their own data centers. And they start calling it private cloud. That's a neat construct, but part of the thing that public cloud does is it has elastic resources, and on-prem technologies aren't, right? They're very, very structured. I'm buying hardware and running it all the way out. We also start to break down cloud into different types of as a service, right? We have infrastructure, platform, and software as a service to try and sort out what is what, because Office 365 is a cloud, but so is Amazon EC2. Are they both cloud? Are they different clouds? What's happening here? And it turns out that if you start to break it down, you can start to align them into different categories. We then release hybrid cloud, because maybe I don't want everything on-prem to go to a public cloud, but I have workloads that I'd really like to stick out in a public cloud. I'll do hybrid cloud, and I'll do them in both places, which is its own challenge nonetheless. Then there's hyperscale clouds and enterprise clouds, right? I have AWS and Azure and GCP. I've got Expedient, and I've got a number of other, the VMware vCloud Air platform. So all of those are enterprise clouds, VMware powered clouds to help power these VMware workloads, right? And then we have various, public clouds and containers and edge computing. And how do I start to sort all this out? Because there's so many different terms here that all kind of sort of mean the same thing. And really, it's a lot. There's not really a way for you to sort out which is which, because enterprise cloud is a public cloud, but that's usually reserved for hyperscale clouds, but that's also, none of these terms line up with what customers actually want to go do. And it leads to this massive mess, because we have a bunch of different varying definitions. What is the definition of multi-cloud? Is it I'm using multiple clouds? No, by the way, spoiler alert, it's not. But as we start to look at these varying definitions, what are we actually doing with them? How do I actually say, this is what I want to go do? This is the definition of what I have. This is the definition of what I would like to get to. And because we have these varying definitions, we have varying levels of success. If you think that multi-cloud is using multiple clouds, you have a lot of customers who will go out and have an AWS account and an Azure account, but they're not doing anything particularly multi about them. They just happen to have multiple accounts, which is a level of success, but it's not really doing anything. It doesn't transform the business. It's just, I have workloads in multiple locations. So how do we clean up this mess? How do we actually get back to where we really want to be? And that means that it's time to do some redefinition, starting with, what is a cloud? A cloud is, in my definition at least, a collection of resources that are elastic, that are generally self-service, that you pay for on an ongoing basis, that provide some sort of value back to your business that you don't own, operate, or maintain. A lot of things can be a cloud. Office 365 and Salesforce are a cloud. Amazon Lambda, Azure Cloud Functions, those are clouds. VMC on AWS, Expedia Enterprise Cloud, those are also clouds, right? All of those things can be considered a cloud of some sort. So what is multi-cloud? Multi-cloud, from our standpoint, is taking multiple clouds and utilizing them for the best purposes, utilizing the technologies to their best and most effective. So how do we get there? How do we actually get to this point that we think we want to get to from a multi-cloud standpoint? There's plenty of ways to get there. There's the bad way, which is, I'm going to take all of these clouds and I'm going to try and run 4 copies of my application, 4 copies of my data, and I will do everything I can so that I can avoid a full cloud outage because I'm using my noggin, I'm using my noodle over here. And this is what we like to call getting cute. This is overthinking, because what you're doing is you are, in essence, ruining your operations, because each time you stand up one of those clouds, you have to handle identity, security and compliance, operations, connectivity, and cost management every single time. And when you have 3 overall clouds, it can become a massive challenge to do that. How do I connect my identity to 3 different places? How do I make all 3 of those compliant? Do I have different compliance levels based on the cloud that I'm using? Maybe I do, maybe I don't, but you're going to have a ton of effort that you're putting in to try and make this work, and you're only getting a very limited amount of benefit out of it. Because all of that benefit that you're getting is at the edge. It's at the corner case. It's at the, we had a full cloud outage. AWS as a whole is not going down. It isn't. You might lose a region at most, right? Hurricanes, power outages, fires, those sorts of things. You might lose a region. In fact, you might not even lose a full region. You may lose an availability zone. Amazon had what did they call it? They called it a substantial increase in ambient temperature in their alerting system. They had a fire on the roof. Ambient temperature increase. So what that means is that that one data center is affected, but not all of them. And you can design your application to withstand a data center outage or an availability zone outage in any of those clouds. But trying to think about it as AWS as a whole is offline is wildly unlikely to happen, which means you're creating maximum complexity for this incredibly limited benefit in the case where it may happen, maybe. And so all of this complexity, it's like living in 2 houses. If you've ever tried to have a vacation house or, timeshare, something like that, you know that you have to do the same things twice, right? I'm in my house now. I have to maintain my house. Just had people cleaning the gutters today, right? There are people fixing roof, fixing plumbing, fixing electrical, fixing structural problems. If you do that with 2 houses, you've just doubled all that. You have to fix plumbing and structure and electrical at that house as well. You have to keep up with that, which can be a never-ending string of maintenance tasks, which takes a lot of time and doesn't give you any value, right? I also have to double the amount of furniture that I have, right? I have a bed in each house. I have a couch in each house. I have a desk in each house. But that means I'm doubling my furniture costs. And that means that if I need to replace that desk because it was broken, I have to replace it in the other site too, because maybe I want them to be the same across both of them. Or now, if I'm splitting them across, I have different desks in each one. They're not the same. It's not the same experience going each way. So you don't get a ton of value. Remember, you're only one person. You can only sleep in one of those houses, right? So living in two houses just makes it really, really hard to live. And that's the same way that trying to use multiple clouds to try and live across both of them at the same time feels. You're doing a lot of effort, but really only getting the actual maximum impact out of one of them. But there's a better way to do this. And the better way to do this is to keep it simple. Look at your applications. What are your applications actually made of? What do your applications connect to? Are they dependent on one another, right? Think about a retail website. Your retail website places orders. What do orders need? Money. Where does the money come from? The payment system. So my retail site and my payment site should probably go together. Now, if you're using a third-party payment service, you need to make sure that it's accessible from wherever you put your retail site. But your retail site overall needs to go together, and its dependencies should go together. That doesn't mean that everything goes with it. Just because your retail site would be best served in Amazon doesn't mean that everything needs to go to Amazon. Utilize the platform to its best capabilities. Don't overthink it. It's very, very easy to start wanting to do cool and neat things and try to think about like 7 steps down the road, but realizing that you're making choices for 7 steps down the road that are ruining your operations today. Because each one of those clouds requires training. They have a learning curve to pick up. They're not all the same. It's not like, oh, it's a compute instance in AWS, it's a compute instance in Google Cloud. They're not the same. So being able to have a simplified management stack can make this so much easier. Think about it this way. You want the right cloud for the right workload. You may have heard that from us before. But having the right cloud for the right workload requires us to think about the actual use of that application. If I come back to my house analogy, it's like a floor plan. Your application has a use, just like the things in your house have a use, right? Each space has a function. I mean, you have a kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, living room. You can wash yourself in your kitchen. You can sleep on your couch. That's not necessarily the right way to go about it, right? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. You should be thinking about what is the most optimal way for me to use this platform. What's the most optimal way for me to get the most value out of my platform and out of my applications? Think about your retail site. Could it use a CDN because you're trying to source all of these images? Great. You should be landing your thing inside of AWS or Amazon where they have CDNs that can go worldwide and make your website faster for your end users. You should be utilizing maybe third-party payment services. Instead of running your own payment system, utilize something like Stripe or Square to handle the payments for you so that you don't have to focus on that. And that can alleviate things like compliance burdens as well. These are the things to think about overall, not just how does my application get from point A to point B. If you need help getting your application from point A to point B, we can help you there. We have our cloud assessments that you can sign up, expedient.com/services/assessments. You can sign up for a free cloud assessment. You'll download a tool. It takes a look at your entire environment and can help you find dependencies in your environment, can help you right size, and with our expert practitioners, can help you figure out the right cloud for your workload. We also offer our Expedient Enterprise Cloud so that you can land those workloads that aren't necessarily a great fit for AWS, Azure, or GCP. Things like accounting programs, right? How often do accounting rules change? Once every never, right? They don't change very often. They don't need to be modular. They don't need to be something that you're constantly waiting for an update so that you can jump on as quickly as possible. They take time to roll out. You have time to do updates. We're great at handling those third-party pieces of software, things that run inside of a Windows OS. It's an off-the-shelf piece of software. They're terrible fits for hyperscale cloud. They're a great fit for enterprise cloud with Expedient. And if you're trying to connect that to your hyperscale dreams, we can do that as well. We have cloud on-ramps that can help you get from point A to point B. We're part of the Equinix cloud fabric. So we have low latency, high speed connectivity to help you get from point A to point B without any of the hassle. We can also help build things like express routes for those dedicated connections that you're looking for. And we offer a number of other services. We have an entire security stack. Our multi-cloud firewall, identity access management, SIEM, and endpoint security are things you can use to help make your clouds more secure. Again, think about living in multiple houses. Imagine if you had a couch that just magically appeared in both of them, and you were able to sleep on either one, depending on which night you wanted to. But you didn't have to worry about how comfortable the couch was. The one in the house one hasn't been broken in as much as house two. They're exactly the same. That's the way that we look at security, easing the security burden by having the same set of tools across all of them. From an operations standpoint, we want to help optimize costs across your clouds, regardless of where they are. It's very, very difficult to track down your costs when some of them are in this account in AWS, some of them are in this account in AWS. We can bring all of those accounts together and give you holistic views and continuously monitor to see when changes happen and when you need to make changes to make savings in your environment. We also offer monitoring and event management so you can bring those things down and correlate events as they happen to get to troubleshooting faster. Our multi-cloud infrastructure can correlate logs together with the cloud and do that through the Equinix Cloud Exchange and through our own network ring between our data centers so that you have a holistic view of your entire environment. Not to mention our multi-cloud object and file storage platform that we just released back in April and our data protection platform that we have today. And finally, with automation, as you start to move away from the maintenance of your hardware, you can start to focus your time on things like automation that we've wanted to do for years, but have just never had the time. By being able to bring Terraform specs, Ansible playbooks, and even vRealize Orchestrator workflows through the platform, you can accelerate your on-ramp to the cloud with automation. And as you start to build your next generation containers and Kubernetes platforms, you can do that through our container management platform across clouds, things like Amazon EKS, Azure AKS, Google GKE, Expedient's cloud platform, and even Kubernetes clusters on-prem. We want to help you along the entire multi-cloud journey, not just where does your workload land. We can help you operate and maintain those going forward because we want to accelerate this cloud journey. We have all of those current apps, virtual machines, containers, and physical workloads are an incredible fit for an Expedient Enterprise Cloud. But those workloads like microservices and really variable workloads, big data, AI, machine learning, things that are really great in hyperscale clouds, we want to help you get there faster. We want to help you accelerate your Azure credits, right? We want you to use the Azure credits for the things that bring value to your business, not the same things that you're using today. And with our Expedient Control set of solutions, we can do that. So what's next? You can go to our website, expedient.com/services/assessments and sign up for a free assessment today. You can also go to expedient.com/services/multi-cloud and see our full cloud different multi-cloud vision. We really believe that this is the best way for our customers to be able to get to where they want to go with their cloud. We've done these surveys before. More than half of the respondents, both from analysts and from ourselves, have shown that more than half of you are using multiple clouds. It's probably not going terribly well. Let's help you with that. We have a number of tools to help you do that, and we would love to help you further. And with that, I will open it up for questions. Does our software sit in the cloud or on servers on site? Our software sits in our data centers. We own, operate, and maintain all of them, so we can make sure that everything is up and running. So you don't have to worry about maintaining that platform. We can focus on things like patching the platform, which is usually where people get tripped up. Getting it stood up and getting it patched and maintained going forward is usually the part where people spend a lot of time, and they don't spend a lot of time on the main pieces, like we want to be able to manage our platforms across clouds going forward. Also, the mnemonic for Minot, North Dakota is why not Minot. So thank you to the person who put that in. I do appreciate that. I do not want to mispronounce Minot. This is one of those capabilities, one of those platforms that we've spent a lot of time on. It's something that we're still going to be putting a lot more time into in terms of building new features and going forward because we're not done yet. This is one of the more exciting things that we're working on as part of multi-cloud, is having all of these various services that we can provide back to our group, our clients, and our customers, because we want to be able to take this further. This is a big differentiator for us across our part of the industry, but also even across the big hyperscale clouds. They don't like to play with each other, right? Google tries with things like Anthos, Azure's playing with Arc, Amazon's not playing with anybody. And so we want to be able to provide services and tools that can help our customers go forward so that they can be successful no matter where they may be. And we have a lot more things coming. We do have a number of various demos that we've done. So multi-cloud firewall and the multi-cloud object and file storage, those are available on our website, go.expedient.com/webinar replays. So you can go check those out today. I've done the cost control demo a number of times. We just recently did it about two weeks ago. So you can see that as well, again, on our website. It's a really, really fantastic platform. And when we start to really dig deeper into it, we continually get new responses from customers who say, oh, you're going to help me find Jerry's account and what Jerry's been doing. And I love that, because I want to help our customers solve problems that they have, even if they're not technical. A lot of times going to multiple clouds is less a technology problem and more of a people and process thing. Right? You have, dev team 1 decided to go out to AWS, dev team 2 decided to go to Azure. No one was thinking about these holistically. They were just making these decisions because they thought they would be good. So this is a way for you to actually get that forward, for you to start to, as an IT professional, start to put your arms around it a little bit and provide guardrails. We want to provide guardrails, not stop signs, because that's the best way to do this going forward. I also highly recommend our webinar that we did with Joe Daly from Nationwide on FinOps. We like to talk a lot about DevOps because DevOps is cool and fun, and writing code or writing an application, it feels fresh and new. But the same sort of concept applies from a developer standpoint. You have to change your developer operations for a cloud. You also need to change your financial operations for a cloud as well. So I highly recommend that one as well. Please go ahead and get those questions in. If not, the winner of the Amazon gift card is Linda Hall Tudor. Congratulations to Linda. We will be reaching out to you to get you that gift card. We do appreciate everybody who attends all of our webinars. Next week, we're going to be doing a rerun of one of our product demos. So please sign up for that if you missed it before. This is another opportunity for you to get some time to sit down and actually watch through on some of those demos. And with that, we'll wrap it up for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and we will see you next week. Thanks.